Now you hear those ladies. The first visitors to our national court this month. Someday you'll meet a cat who's lost her hearing, and that'll be you.
What was that big roar? Sounds like someone got in the engine of a truck. Otherwise, there's a lion on the loose. Don't be crazy. We're in Europe. Somewhere.
Keep it quiet, you loudmouth Trojan.
Sir, Monsieur.
Where?
New song of American new song hairdo. I got crossed in Italy. Signor Circo Lovia, could be Switzerland. Ich bin mit Bo Ister, Americanzer, Express OBB.
I speak English.
You tourists speak those many languages.
I'm afraid I speak only English.
You're a tourist too?
No, I live here.
But this is...
Fenwick, the Duchy of Grand Fenwick. Our sovereign is Duchess Gloriana, the 12th.
We're really lost. This morning we ran in a car tonight.
Me.
That's in France.
Yeah.
We left the car to do a little bird watching, but...
Bird watching. You've come to the right place. I've written a book about birds. Perhaps you've heard of it? Migratory Birds of Grand Fenwick.
I've never even heard of a Fenwick.
But you're in Fenwick, and I'm Chief Ranger, Tully Bascom.
Please, which way is the road?
But wouldn't you like to see our forest? It has a variety of trees. A waterfall, 20 feet high. And a haunted oak where a mad huntsman is supposed to himself.
Well, so does the park in Peoria, Illinois. We've hardly passed the major side.
But would you like to see our forest? Don't pass the country because it's small.
How small?
5 miles long by 3 miles wide. You know, it was not one of those taxing places. The father of our country, Sir Roger Fenwick, came to France with Sir Edward and formed this colony of his own.
That's very interesting, but...
Our flag was first raised in the year 1370. A double-headed eagle. From one beaked eagle is saying yay, from the other, nay.
But why would the King of France...
Charles the Wise.
Why would he let Fenwick get away with it?
Twice Charleston expeditions, and twice they were recalled, thanks to the power of the English longbow.
But after that...
Sir Roger had the good fortune to establish this duchy in an extraordinary location.
What's so extraordinary about it?
No coal, no iron, no precious metals, no harbors or waterways.
No wonder you're left alone.
It wouldn't take long to point out some of our native birds.
How can a nation 5 miles by 3 claim native birds?
Having your village of Baltimore claim an oriole, the only being who could really pass on the nationality of the bird is the bird.
Okay, you've got birds. Anything else?
An excellent wine with an unusual bouquet. We call it Pinot Grand Fenwick.
We really must get back to the road. Yay or nay?
That way. Just walk straight.
I'm sorry we couldn't take time for your country, too.
We also have an unusual variety of field mouse. It's tiny like our country, but...
Goodbye, never Peoria.
Go ahead, give him a scare.
Tully Bascom.
Yes, here.
Tully,
The only time I asked you. Yeah?
you're wanted at the castle.
Me?
There's an emergency meeting of the Privy Council called by Gloriana.
But why would they want me?
It really must be an emergency.
When your sovereign is a 22-year-old duchess, you never know what to expect. I used to see her a lot. Well, now it takes an emergency.
Tully, if the meeting should be about wine production, could you put in a word for modern methods? This tramping on grapes is the hardest of herbal feet.
Say, it is an emergency. Come on.
Our people are expecting us to do something?
Our people should leave their questions to the hereditary leaders.
You're finding the Constitution inconvenient again.
I just say it's too bad. The 12 Count of Mountjoy had to debate policy with Madame Benter, descendant of a simple yeoman.
A yeoman who accompanied Sir Roger Fenwick will restore this castle which you're now standing.
Your family has managed to mention that at every parliamentary election since the 15th century.
The Duchess Gloriana the 12th. Pray, be seated. We have called this emergency meeting to allow both leaders to speak before we reach our decision.
Yes, Your Highness.
Before we became your party can solve this financial crisis, we may have to go back to that. Perhaps give them up entirely.
But my
We
lady...
also have to devalue the federal floor and lower wages and cancel all benefits, along with pomegranate. We appreciate your concern. Since the market for our wine has been stolen by a cheap imitation being manufactured now in California, we no longer have the foreign exchange to pay for the imported necessities. We recognize Margaret Bedford.
I say, add a little water to the fermentation vats, lower our prices, and try to compete with the competition.
Delicious! My lady, those who would add water to Pinot Grigio would debase any work of art. Why they put the Da Vinci portrait of Gloria on the 6 on the postage stamp? No, there's a better way.
Which is?
Well, what every country does. Get it from America.
America won't even answer our protest.
Instead of demanding justice, let's just try asking for money.
Not so easy these days getting money from America.
Wait till you hear my scheme.
It's not enough these days
We'll
just
say
to
when written by subversives.
Uncle,
Maoists? Right-wing extremists? Students?
Students?
that's your plan?
We'll set up a real party, stage demonstrations, appeal publicly to China and Rhodesia.
I don't like it. Suppose there's some wild chance they do take over.
Oh, I saw that too. For the leader of this temporary movement, I picked simple-minded, non-political backwoods.
You are sure he'd be safe?
Oh, I've already said so. You can judge it yourself.
Your Highness, Tully Bascom is outside claiming he'd be summoned to this meeting. Tully Bascom?
That's our man. His main interest is birds.
I know. When my father was still alive, I used to climb trees in the National Forest. I even built a birdhouse for some swallows.
Well, if you don't think he's the right man for the job.
He's the right man. Tully Bascom.
Hi, Glory.
We haven't seen you in some time.
Well, not since you started calling yourself Reed.
Be respectful, sir.
I only do it sometimes.
Well, you've always known where to find me. The National Forest needs constant attention. We had 4 visitors today.
Her Highness has more to do these days than build birdhouses.
I don't suppose it's still around.
Yes, there's a colony of switch-out swallows in it peacefully now. I've kept it repaired.
The reason you were called, could you take time out from your work to form a new political party of communists?
I'd rather not, thank you. Their philosophy doesn't seem to work out very well, especially in the agricultural regions.
We wouldn't want the party to be successful, just appear successful.
So the Americans will loan us some money.
What? It's a trick! And even if the trick were successful, we wouldn't be saved. We've deliberately defrauded another nation.
Your principles are magnificent. Meanwhile, I've got to save the duchy.
Save it from what?
Bankruptcy.
Well, if you can't do it honorably, it isn't worth saving.
Oh, no.
Tully, what am I to do?
Well, why don't you just raise the price if you know Grand Fenwick? There's a big demand for it.
Not anymore. An American vineyard in a place called California is using our label, the picture of our castle, and selling it at our price.
They call it Pinot Grigio. They've ruined our economy.
What's the honorable course now?
An official letter demanding an end to this fraud and prompt reparations.
We've sent those letters, they're ignored.
In that case, our demands being just, we'll have to declare war.
What?
A declaration.
I don't hold to the private tax.
Against the United States of America.
And to make certain it gets there, send a registered mail. Return receipt requested.
Well, Tully, we've no factories, no resources, and only 6,000 people.
But we're in the right!
Stop being so simple-minded and consider the consequences.
We have to fight regardless of the consequences.
Which are that we lose. If you study recent history, you realize that losing a war to the United States would mean... History shows this has to be considered.
Consider? What are
Pomegranate, Uncle?
And if there's anything to remedy, I offer myself first volunteer.
You may have solved our problem, Tully. You really have. You're excused to your duties with mine, then.
Good to see you, Glory.
Good to remember how life used to be.
He must be mad. Completely bereft of his senses. He should be locked up as a raving lunatic.
I wouldn't say that. In fact, perhaps we will declare war.
Don't even joke.
I'm not joking.
It's hardly necessary to say we lose.
Of course we lose.
Think of the consequences.
We have to fight regardless of the consequences. Mr. Bascom has convinced me.
Stop this irresponsible nonsense. These matters
Much
are...
too important to be left to a girl whose main interests are pomegranates, but they are left to me, Uncle.
You've been reading too many romantic accounts of military genius greetings. I just can't let you jeopardize
A
them.
marvelous little handbook on government written by some Italian.
Italian?
Full of practical suggestions, a little drastic perhaps, but as a last resort.
Machiavelli?
That's the one. I also came across a girl who had a way with difficult associates. Lucrezia Borgia. Does the pomegranate taste bitter?
Your Highness!
I don't understand. You were saying about the United States? If I remember my history books correctly, there are few more profitable undertakings than to declare war upon the United States and to be defeated.
Profitable? To be defeated?
The ink is no sooner dry on the surrender documents than the United States are rushing crude, money, machinery, technical aid to the former foe.
She's right.
To avoid wrecking the former adversary's economy, they extend generous credit to the most favorable trade agreements. And that is just the beginning.
You're sure about this?
Don't you remember after World War II, all they did for Germany and Japan? Now their economies are booming.
She's right. We declare war on Monday, be vanquished Tuesday, and rehabilitated beyond our wildest dreams by Friday night. Oh, Gloriana, I have to confess, when you were explaining this to Tully, you had me a bit confused.
Actually, he was making a good suggestion.
Without even realizing it, the man's more stupid than I first thought.
He's so unsophisticated, he really believes that right can prevail against any odds. An attitude well taken in the 14th century when the French tried to invade. An attitude we'll have to assume with Bascom and everyone else.
Yes, quite right.
If anyone knew what real.
Our next step will be to dispatch our declaration. For the duration of the emergency, I'm dissolving Parliament. For our battle cry, I suggest the appropriate slogan, forward regardless of the consequences. Attend me while I draw up the document. Hurry.
Right with you, ma'am. Ma'am, I've checked and figured out any of the shuttle flights between Washington and New York City. But why don't you go with the president on his plane?
We go separately and don't meet till we reach Professor Coke's laboratory at Columbia University. That's how times have changed. An eccentric physicist who refuses to work anywhere but at Columbia University can summon the president.
But aren't there thousands of these weapons research projects?
That's what it said on a placard a student was carrying. I happen to notice because he hit me with it. Looks like this one's really come up with something. The professor called the president on his private line at 3 this morning. But all he actually said, I have completed the experiment, Mr. President.
Do you think worse than the H-bomb?
Don't even talk about it to me. Aspirin, bicarbonates, buffering, and 3 kinds of tranquilizers.
For you or for the president?
You could use a little tranquilizing. Do you think particularly cheerful in this mail? Something I could mention to the president?
No, but the boys in the French were up to their tricks. They've managed to get another one of those crazy communications from the mythical European kingdom onto the mail desk again. You know, one with the double-headed eagle saying yay and nay.
Oh yes, protest, and then a warning.
This one, my Mr. President, this one's a declaration of war.
Those press room characters go to a lot of trouble for a little fun.
To the President, Congress, and people of the United States of America, greetings. Whereas the Duchy of France and Macau is a sovereign and independent nation since its founding in 1370 AD, and whereas the present support of the Duchy of France and Macau since during all these years production of the excellent, unique wine known to the world as Pinot Grand Fenwick, and whereas in the noble imitation of superior wines being produced in quantity in full and health.
Duchess of Grand Fenwick. Well, I can see a reporter dreaming of a name like Gloriana, but I don't understand these other 2 names. M. Venter, leader delusionist party, and Mountjoy, leader anti-delusionist party.
You think the president might get a kick out of it?
He's a little edgy right now.
I don't know whether to frame this, file it, or send it to the New Yorker.
To tell you the truth, I'm a little edgy myself.
Ma'am, when you reach Columbia, be careful.
I'll try, but I'm not as fast as I was. How I hope the students aren't restless tonight.
Band of bomb! 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 Give me the band of bomb! Band of bomb! Band of bomb! Students?
No, nothing for unpredictable. Take a little walk.
Professor Cogan, do you know what's going on out there?
They're finally taking an interest in what they think we're doing. I'm thrilled. It excites me. That's why working here is so stimulating. I'll put you in for a silver star.
But I already have a silver star. Hello, Miss Turner. Is everything all right?
Exactly.
A call came in while I was training the usual mess in your quarters. They're on the way
burrito pickles.
They're not expecting a smorgasbord. Pastrami?
With, if you excuse the expression, Russian dressing.
Mr. Coates!
Yes, please, come.
General Snippet, in charge of security. 2 members of my staff.
So glad you can come.
That person, who is that?
John Wayne. When my assistant and I aren't going through security checks, we supervise a team of scientists who just made you obsolete.
But who is that person?
Mrs. Ryan? She ever went over to the Russians.
What?
I'm only joking. She'd never leave the Bronx. She's a member of my staff.
Afternoon, sir. The correct salutation is Mr. President.
Mr. President, excuse.
Why don't you put out a press release? Good to see you again, Professor.
When I called on the special lines this morning, I didn't realize it was so early.
I told you to call them when we get something.
Sir, anyone can walk in here. It isn't just a university. It's in the middle of New York City, but the only security is a student monitor out in the hall.
Professor Wilkins finds the area conducive to research.
With results to prove it.
General, these 2 whacks are always with you.
My name's Joe, sir! Jenny, sir!
Dr. Political Defender, you think they have a soft assignment?
Certainly not. I don't believe in that sort of thing. They're my daughters.
Perhaps you wouldn't mind standing outside the door if you wouldn't mind sentry duty.
We love sentry duty. He never lets us do anything. We keep applying for transfers.
If you slip this way.
Oh, don't be silly. I'm Secretary of State. Almost made without being recognized.
Let's proceed.
It's done. The new computer the Navy loaned me was a great help. The others, it would have taken 2 years. As it was, only a month. Of course, I was a year setting up this problem for the machine to solve. And I had to work in hopes that a machine capable of solving them would be invented. But that's water under the bridge. Here it is. Beautiful, eh? The mass difference of the nucleus is the greatest ever achieved.
Mass difference?
The amount of power having to do with
If we get into the details, you'll either be confused or get the wrong impression.
So in simple terms, what is it?
Quadium.
They'll call it the Q bomb.
Quadium is a form of hydrogen which has not existed in the universe for a billion years. When I say a form of hydrogen, you realize I speak for the layman.
Well, still speaking for the layman, what is its particular effect?
That's the point. Quadium is probably the substance that first made the Earth a flaming planet. You realize the Earth still flamed for billions of years after the quadium was exhausted, converted into denser nuclei, that is. Of course, the quadium on the sun was burned up eons ago.
But what does it do?
Let me put it this way. You could say that quadium started those tremendous fires. However, to the best of our knowledge, no quadium still exists anywhere in the whole of space.
Then what's the point?
Except in this cylinder.
All.
Perhaps in the universe.
But it's only... I mean, what can you do with such a tiny... I mean, it's a practical matter.
Incinerate an area of 2,000 square miles. Perhaps more. You know how we scientists are. We can never be sure without trying. 2,000? Oh, it's no danger now. Completely harmless. Until I fit it into a little detonating device I have to design especially.
He should be sent a safe distance before he starts fooling around with detonating devices.
I told you, I will not leave Columbia.
No reason why you should. What's the difference? There's no such thing now as a safe distance.
The quadium, please. I've told you all you have to know. Now I get back to work.
Professor, just so I'm completely clear, what is the actual effect?
If someone was so insane as to detonate quadium, the effect? How did you expect if the sun were placed in contact with that part of the Earth's surface for the space of, say, 100 billionth of a second? Oh, well, back to the detonator.
I should stay right here and start setting up some kind of for security.
Better prepare some escape arrangements in case the protest outside suddenly turns into a rampage. If it does, bring out the professor whether he likes it or not. And Claudia.
There won't be any old-fashioned declarations of war after this. Anyone with a Q-bomb fires one shot, and it's over.
Chief, talking about declarations of war, the funniest thing happened at the State Department. This declaration, absolutely hilarious. It had a double-headed eagle that's... Yes, well, maybe some other time.
Cover!
Hey, let's go! You're outside!
It's the Americans! They're here! They've come!
Have they come? Are we under attack? Do you think we'll bomb the castle?
Take to the field! Take to the open stones! They're here!
Wait! Either one! The cannon fire!
It's the Americans! They've come! They're here!
Please, take to the south road. If you won't think of yourself, think of us. Think of me. If you stand here, how can I go down there? I might get killed up here.
How much? What is that?
It's the United States Strategic Air Command!
I wish it was, then we know they were aware of us.
They might start talking.
Or they could be dropping our tourists. That's Pan American, the flight between Paris and Rome.
It couldn't possibly be! Well, maybe.
Of course. Right on time, too.
I thought once we declare war, the Americans would do something. This way drives me crazy.
Driving everyone crazy.
Perhaps we haven't quite risen to the occasion.
If the Americans won't go to war with us, what can we do?
Escalate.
Escalate.
They're right, too.
That's why I decided on it. We're going to invade
Invade the United States.
itself.
Hold on, a thing like that would make them very annoyed.
Even a microscopic invasion would give them such a shock they'd assemble overwhelming power against us. Then they'll start feeling embarrassed. They might even be more generous than usual.
But what if we really make them mad?
Oh, and suppose the leader of this demonstration just gives the plan away. Once they capture him, they'll surely get the truth out of him.
That's why the leader has to be someone so sincere, so simple-minded, he truly believes he's out to defeat the United States.
You couldn't find anyone who's that. I mean, you'd have to be complete. Except.
Tully Bascom, can you report any progress?
Yeah. I've assembled the volunteers, and I have a plan of sorts.
I've appointed Tully Bascom, High Constable of our Expeditionary Forces.
The obvious choice, Your Highness.
But you do know the United States spends billions every year on ballistic missiles, atomic submarines, jet
I did
airliners.
not say I thought it would be easy.
But
If you'd rather I turn to someone else.
no. If that's what you want, that's what I'll do. I'll drive the war home to the enemy. There's just one little point to be settled.
What point?
How do I get there?
Well, select a tourist liner belonging to a neutral nation.
Third class. Well, they're soldiers.
Oh yeah, then what am I supposed to do when I get there? Go through customs and present ourselves to the immigration department?
We'll charter a small boat. Something can be found in Marseille.
Oh, a Norderney Marseille fishing boat. Fits right in my plan.
Tell us how you prevail.
Well, the situation suggests commando operation. We'll infiltrate Washington, D.C., either at night or in disguise. Their capital is full of dignitaries. We'll seize the highest we can find, then report to the boat and demand an end to this and for our grievances.
I'm not sure I like this
It's
plan.
a wonderful plan. I only want to make a few changes.
Let's discuss this later and privately.
That's unnecessary. Instead of Washington with all those dignitaries, a more worthy object is their largest city, New York.
New York City?
And no disguises. We're not thieves. The boat should display the colors of grand vengeance, and so should the men.
But-
as they march ashore proudly in broad daylight.
But that doesn't leave much for the chance of surprise.
You question your sovereign?
And one more thing. We can't afford automatic rifles. We'll depend instead on our traditional weapons.
The longbow?
Good enough for your ancestors.
Sound too much for you?
No. Let me just get this straight. We're to show the colors of Grand Fenwick as we march ashore in broad daylight and attack New York City with bows and arrows.
That's right.
Very well, Your Highness, but we'll do our best.
If I had any reservations concerning the plan, you completely removed them.
What a strategy.
The first volunteers are still waiting for you to show yourself, Glory. They'll need all the inspiration they can get.
Sounds like half the population's out there, too.
They're singing our national anthem.
And Glory, I expect I'll need inspiration too. Would you give me your favor to carry?
Of course, anything.
Your scarf, so that every moment of the expedition, you'll be with me. I wear it in honor of your service.
Well, I want you to wear it. Holly, we have to serve our country, but people serve in different ways. I want you to remember that no matter how it turns out, it's the grand Fenwick.
And Glory, come.
We're reaching a new climax. As students protest for their claim as the secret weapons research project being carried out by the Defense Department. The university administration will be looking for nor deny the charge. Meanwhile, the protest demonstration appears to be growing. Before we go back to the music, here's an item from my news desk. The ocean liner, the United States, reported that shortly after clearing New York Harbor this morning, they sighted what appeared to be a small French fishing vessel flying a peculiar and unknown flag. They called the lab hailer asking her to identify herself and were answered by a flight of arrows. Repeat, a flight of arrows. And I was worried about those new orbital bombs.
Professor, wait, I think we better hurry. Now.
It's good that you see me in the subway. Really, there's no need for me to start.
Professor, when I was a student, I had to study all the time. I got these feelings of hostility. And they don't appreciate Professor Kokins' genius. And it's a freaking nonsense!
Now, hostility is one thing, but you're giving into irrational fears. Well, actually, look at these students. Just look at them.
They're coming up on us, and they're marching.
What kind of crazy outfits? My God, they look like they're wearing armor.
You're right about me, Professor. I'm filled with anxiety. Let's get out of here.
You know, I have a hang-up too, and my hang-up is paranoia. I feel like I'm being shot at by bows and arrows.
Come on, Professor, let's make it for the subway.
Right, the other right. Men of Grand Fenwick, I've led you to the heartland of the enemy. We're in New York City. So far as I can tell, our exact location is the intersections of Broadway and 161. 161 roads. There's even more. Silence in the ranks!
Hey guys, this is the new lab, Professor Kokins. Pass it along.
Chainmail, you're the idea.
Tully, sir, the enemy doesn't seem to be taking us very seriously. I mean, telling us about a target and where we dock. People giving us flowers. Crazy-looking people with long hair and beads. Must have been some kind of druids.
We'll give them a belly full of war. As soon as we find out what their army is.
That warning shot, I showed wingers to just now.
Look at the castle. Wow.
All this castles, Tully. It'll take a lot of storming.
Anyone too faint-hearted for the service of Gloriana can just return to the boats.
All I said is it'll take a lot of storming.
Tully, a vehicle coming up this road. It looks military.
Form up here.
Army car.
Steady, men.
Driver's definitely a soldier.
You two bowmen, shoot out the front tire. We'll take the supporting fire if necessary. But we want him alive. Forward for Fenwick.
Why are they shooting?
Those tires don't offer much target.
Fire! Nice shot.
What are you crazy to son of my teeth? If you crazy about trouble,
He lacks respect. Shoot off his cap.
Beautiful shot.
Go get him.
you're a maniac! Psychopath!
Sorry, he's doing a girl.
Stop! Catch me! You'll get 20 years with hard labor and solitary confinement!
Why?
Why? You're interfering with an army general active. You almost caused the crash to kill one of them. Careful!
Let me guess. You're filming a scene from William Tell?
No, actually, we're experiencing hostilities with the United States. Yes, and you're our first prisoners of war.
Boys, protest all you want. And dissent, I believe in dissent. But this is not war. You're not commencing hostilities.
It's war! Don't worry, you'll be treated in accordance with the Geneva Convention.
Look, you don't understand. This is serious business. It affects the security of our nation. I have got to get that professor to a safe place, or else...
The security of the United States.
Don't say more!
Save one.
My name is Joe Snippet. My serial number is 297-78-8973. Sir! Jimmy Snippet. Serial number 76721-90212. Sir! Don't be silly, girl. I'm just trying to put up real. Here is a helicopter waiting. I don't get that professor to a safe place. It will be in my head.
The security of the United States. A general exploding a bomb.
You're not students?
No. Name's Tully Bassett, High Constable of Expeditionary Forces of Grand Fenwick.
I don't even have time to use the papers. Was there a reason for declaring war?
Over wine.
What better reason?
Over wine. What better reason?
Excuse me, sir. Is that a weapon?
See, it's an experiment.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but I'll have to...
Oh, no, don't touch.
Prize of war.
Gently.
It's a bomb.
It's chemicals.
Ah, well, if it's just chemicals.
No! All right, it's a bomb.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so?
Such a small bomb.
That small bomb, if it explodes, it will destroy all of New York. Also Boston and Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Even if it was full of gunpowder, we ready to fine.
I don't think so.
But what would you build such a bomb?
It's so powerful. Makes war out of the question. A peace weapon.
A peace weapon. Grand Fenwick could use a peace weapon. Form up here. We're marching back to the river.
Go run! Turn it on!
Stop her!
She made it! You'll never go in now!
Well, we'll have to risk it. Attention! Forward march! 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
People! Help us! Stop us!
1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
We're being abducted! They are born invaders! I'm a general of the United States Army! Look, they're probably taking us to a boat somewhere on the Hudson River. On the 600 General District. Acid force! Tell them it's General. People, help us! Help! Get involved!
How about that? You said it'd be worth coming out here. Get involved with a lawsuit? Call the Sixth Army? You must be crazy.
Miss Wilkins, can you please shut that window? It sounds like the brakes have arrived at the White House! Thank you.
line direct to Professor Cokinson's quarters is still in a bit of good. Been trying to reach him since this morning.
Probably spending all his time in the laboratory. Shall I put through a regular call from there?
I don't want to go to the campus switchboard. I put through a call to General Snippet. Staff that produces the campus administration.
Really getting out of hand this time. There's even our reports from students who are in arms.
It was a mistake to let Professor Kokins continue to sensitive work at Columbia.
You should make an appearance for reviewing things. The military is putting on the greatest armed forces day trade ever. It helps restore confidence.
I can't leave yet. The Secretary of State's on her way over.
I have a good mind to open that window again, so you'll see the tremendous display you're missing.
Sure, military hardware is worth billions. But it's not worth that much of a certain form of hydrogen. When I say a form of hydrogen, you realize I speak for the layman. Oh, if that's the best then for right in.
Mr. President?
I've been hiding on the sidearm. That's the direct line to Professor Cook. I've been trying to reach him since this morning.
Probably holed up in his laboratory. Has the FBI to do with me. Chief, I've got something incredible to tell you.
I brought in the FBI about 4 hours ago. They're under wraps. It's not only security this time, it's that typical of a professor.
The professor's under a strain. Maybe he went away for a few days' rest.
That might explain Snippet. You're not on keep an eye on him.
Well, if Snippet's gone too, then I'm sure they're together. Chief, the reason I asked to see you is unbelievable.
I've already had a preliminary report from the FBI, but it's just striking. Vandalism at Columbia during the protests, a peculiar flag on the flagpole, and a ridiculous report from a passerby. That's it.
I came to see you about the peculiar flag myself.
Keep interrupting.
This is so ridiculous I don't know how to begin. A large shield was found in the street after the demonstration in New York. It was turned over to the museum, but they couldn't identify it. They thought that the State Department might recognize it.
So much on my mind.
Please, a Middle European specialist identified it as the crest of Grand Fenwick, a tiny duchy founded in the 14th century.
That's interesting, but...
Then I remembered where I could name for, and...
Never mind, Preston! I'm much too busy!
Mr. President, we are at war with Grand Fenwick. We've been at war with them for weeks. Furthermore, there's evidence that a force from that country invaded New York and withdrew during the upset at Columbia.
You are out of your mind.
I used to think so too, but not now. What did this peculiar flag look like, the one on the university flagpole?
A bird with 2 heads.
Flag of Grand Fenwick.
No!
Yes, my secretary's trying to locate the document now.
You've seen such a document?
I thought it was a joke. Boys in the press room.
So would I. These people crazy or they got some reason?
Apparently we threatened their livelihoods.
We did?
I've had a crash investigation underway since this morning. It seems that this country depends on the export of a particular type of wine. The chief outfit in California put out an imitation. Stole their label and everything. They've got a point, all right.
But we're a reasonable nation. Why did they try a sensible approach?
I find they sent several perfectly valid protests.
What happened?
Someone took them onto the California winemakers for comment.
And
The winemakers used them in a series of advertisements of questionable taste. They claimed their products were so similar, it brought official protests.
oh no!
Chief, you don't look very good this time.
Miss Wilkins, can you open that window again? It just isn't possible for this country to be made by 14th century Europeans.
It's tremendous. The most powerful military display I've ever seen.
That's Fenwick country. They can send them a protest, and even a few knickknacks. But they couldn't get away with even a token invasion. I'm telling you.
Sorry, sir, but an FBI messenger just arrived at New York. He said it's the first definite clue concerning John Snippet.
Oh, I wonder what on earth. But as soon as we locate them, we'll find out where tokens are. Where is this bound?
Picked up by a groundskeeper at Columbia University.
Thank you. Would you say that they're on the 14th century European view?
Doesn't look 20th century Sears Roebuck. Chief, try and make you realize what has happened.
We've been invaded by a country, men with bows and arrows. They either captured or killed General Snippet. Miss Wilkins, did you say where this was found in Columbia? Laboratory. You don't suppose that they found Cokin and the Q-bomb, fitted the detonating device, and was Snippet out of the way?
Chief, the direct line to Cokin.
Thank heaven! Hello, Cokin! You on the top of Who is this? Who is it? Mrs. Reiner? What are you doing on the phone? Answer me, this is the president! He's disappeared? Could you tell me when he disappeared? During the campus demonstration? Thank you for calling. How do I know you're stupid with the sandwiches? Eat them yourself!
Shall I shut the window? Chef on her face.
What's the difference? Our little countries. Coconut, Q-bomb, invented the deadening device. The little Dutch is the most powerful nation in the world.
Perhaps Finland.
They declared war on us. They've invaded us. And they've beaten us! Stop it! I'd like to throw it at you.
Don't even say such a thing.
Can't you let him make it cleaner? It won't take him a minute.
I beg you again.
Only fucking out. No, no, no! Plus you guard me so closely.
She was right. Never heard it down.
Stop complaining, Dad. It's embarrassing. Face it, we are prisoners of war.
You call this happening a war?
I did not say halt. I said act. Okay. It's right face. All right. And
Sully, why can't we start our bus to take us from the seacoast back to Grand Fenwick?
because we had enough trouble without having to explain our prisoners to the bus company. Besides, the ride home might jostle our mom.
Can I make it a little safer?
You might make it too safe. Get this straight. You are not to touch that box. Not ever.
The tropics, the Mediterranean, didn't pass here to the house.
We'll have to risk it. We're being very careful.
Sully, why'd you have to change back to the battle dress?
Because we're about ready to march into our homeland.
We've been marching so many battles. And now these woods. How can you tell?
Didn't you hear?
Sound like someone gunning into a truck?
In Wiki and Fieldhouse.
This is no time for legends, Sully. It's some effect of the wind.
I tell you, I've seen them, and the only place they occur is in our national forest. You'll see we're close.
You and your abominable field mouse. Did you write what you expected?
Yes, I mentioned a bit about return home in the letter from Gibraltar, but they'll know we're seeing.
Will they hear what happens? They'll be so proud. What a surprise.
And the first thing, I'll report to Gloria. Attention! Right face! How stupid ever. Forward march! 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Ow! 1, 2, 1. 1, 1, 1,
After slipping out a river named for the explorer Henry Hudson, we headed north till we reached the prevailing westerlies, and then made a vast Atlantic crossing. Altering course to south-southeast, we made good time with the favorable winds from Gibraltar. A member of the crew will row ashore here to mail this letter, and inform families that all are well. Your obedient servant, Tully Bascom.
The whole letter? That's all?
Sounds like an entry in a ship's log.
Mailed at Gibraltar 9 days ago.
But he doesn't say what happened.
Probably too ashamed, the coward.
We don't know he's a coward.
How else could all of them be well and coming back almost as soon as they got there?
Maybe the Americans just won't go to war with us.
If we were at war, if Tully done his job, then we'd have heard something from the American consulate over in France.
Apparently, Tully wasn't entirely successful.
Wasn't entirely successful. He didn't even get captured. He didn't even get arrested.
Mrs. Bascom, I haven't seen you since long ago.
This is a meeting of the Privy Council.
But nothing said concerning your son reflects on you, Mrs. Bascom. I was admitted at once because I've just heard our men returning. They're coming up to the National Forest right now.
You think it's your son?
And the others. As if our history had come to life again. Their voices are just as legend described. The first sound of our men returning victorious to battle with the French.
Don't talk blasphemy, madam.
Blasphemy, sir?
Comparing our brave ancestors with these craven bunglers.
They're coming! They're here! You're certain there are, men. Can't you hear? Because the Grand Fenwick, I saw them myself.
Oh, they must be French!
They must be at the castle.
My son!
They'll tear him limb from limb after the court-martial.
Court-martial? Really?
We'll find excuses, that's all.
At least let's hear the excuses, Uncle. Let him approach the throne.
Your Highness, I would like to report on our war with the United States.
War.
Praise and effrontery.
Will children hear him? We'll hear your report.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Your Grace.
Well,
What happened?
briefly,
Briefly, Your Highness, we won!
You what?
The forces of Grand Finland returned as always, victorious
Whoa, let's get this straight. You followed orders.
to the letter,
You wore your uniforms.
with pride.
You went ashore in broad daylight.
Approximately noon,
Boldly
we marched.
into New York City.
Yes, and our first definite location was the intersections of a wide avenue called Broadway and streets numbering 161.
161 roads?
There's even more.
Carrying what weapons?
Your Highness, we carried longbows.
And then you won?
Yeah,
Tell us the truth, Will Tatum.
You heard it, Count.
Impossible. Have you one scrap of evidence to support your ridiculous fantasy?
Your Highness.
Yes, the evidence.
Some documents, it's a complete forgery.
Bring on the prisoners.
Prisoners?
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Halt! Your Highness. This is General Snippet of the United States Army and 2 officers of the U.S. Army Women's Corps. Professor Hogan, a nuclear physicist. And the object on the plane, bring it forth. The most powerful bomb created by Professor Koken.
It doesn't look powerful. I'll examine it.
No, don't touch. Silence! Don't make a parade.
Oh, even if it was filled with...
Gunpowder?
Yes, this little bomb couldn't blow up.
That little bomb could blow up most of Europe.
If you say that once more, I'll...
You must have heard of nuclear weapons.
When I was in France, I heard something. The radio.
What?
They're powerful.
This little bomb is the most powerful. The only one of its kind. The Q bomb.
The United States will want it back.
What will they do to us?
You've asked for it.
Ask for what, General?
His name is General Snippet. Share number 244. 4514. Out! And that's it!
What can they do? You've got a Q-bomb.
Then we did win?
Why ridiculous fluke?
Pull yourself together, man.
What do you mean?
Don't you realize what you're saying?
I said you won by a ridiculous fluke.
How about their Q-bomb?
Our Q-bomb.
Yeah, I want to take him to the deep dungeon.
Could I make it a little safer?
He might make it too safe. He's not allowed near it.
You're giving the orders?
I haven't abdicated to you, Tully, or to anyone else. I said to take him to the deep dungeon.
You must let me go along and...
Silence!
Place it carefully on a bed of straw. Will you give your parole not to escape? The deep dungeon is so uncomfortable.
All right.
Take the general and the professor to the guest wing.
We'll see you're quite comfortable.
Ladies, take the army ladies to the vacant room near mine. This way, and be sure they're taken care of.
Thank you.
I wish I could go barefoot like you. Yeah, these shoes are killing me. I'm only occupationally barefoot. What occupation is that?
Will, see the posting order guards.
Without asking permission?
Your Highness.
Granted.
I wonder if we should put straw on the ropes running past the castle. Deadening vibrations that might reach the deep dungeon.
We'll consider it.
Certainly put us in a fine fix.
Okay.
You might as well have imported active volcano and put it in the middle of our valley.
The Americans will never buy our wines now, not after this.
But we're at war.
But we're...
We didn't expect you to, well,
What? I just don't understand your concern.
They're concerned about the Q-bomb.
Your Highness, I thought that their concern was that my son might not do his duty.
I don't think there's any question on that, Mrs. Beth.
Questions? What questions?
don't take that tone with us.
I just don't understand.
You placed us at the mercy of that frightful little boss.
Why don't we send it back?
And give up our victory?
And if that bomb should blow up. It would not only destroy us, but also the French, the Swiss, the Italians, the Germans, the Swedes, indeed the whole of Europe, which is the cradle of Western civilization. You deserve the most severe punishment, reprimand, exile.
But, I just don't understand. Was I supposed to win?
You keep asking questions. The Privy Council will have to consider this situation. You might want to escort them over.
Glory, here's your paperback. You said that it would be a comforting inspiration. Well, it was. Mother?
Proud, dear, my son.
Now, brace yourself, Stark.
Getting too big for his boots because we won a war.
It was expressly to lose that war.
Yes, but he didn't know that.
I used to dream we lost. And all that aid was Oregon from America.
What are we supposed to do now? Rehabilitate the United States?
Oh, dear.
Your Highness, one of the arguments she said it had a short waveband, which means you can hear a long distance.
I think I can handle this. Maybe I can swing in the United States.
If there's any truth to this nightmare, surely we hear something of it.
You're to keep an eye on the army, ladies.
Yes.
Your substation.
We will conclude this special BBC News summary with a direct quotation of the question of the Congress and his reply. The Honorable Member for Northwest Hampton rules to ask, is Her Majesty's government aware of the reports that the subject of Grand Federal has declared war on the United States, invaded New York City, and seized a bomb which, according to the report, is capable of destroying an enormous area?
Tully told the truth.
The Foreign Secretary rose, and I quote his reply. Her Majesty's government is looking into the facts of the case. Meanwhile, we point out that those innocent men from Grand Federal are of English extraction. There were cheers from both sides of the House. Now, for another example of enlightened non-commercial radio, recorded discussion of the chief elements in West Australia.
Try from the United States.
Are they so far away?
Your substation, but I don't know where.
Historical significance of the event. We continue our commentary in English.
The United States put it that way?
The proletariat of the independent state, known as Grand Federal, has been subjected to intolerable economic warfare by the imperialists of San Rafael, California.
Doesn't sound like America.
Placing themselves in the vanguard of the proletariat everywhere, they have invaded New York and captured the Cuba, with which the barbarous money worshippers fought to destroy civilization.
It's America. They sure do have freedom of speech.
This Cuba is one which we, as civilized people, refrain from making ourselves, although it is very within the skill of our comrades scientists. Now, for another example of superior socialist radio, is concluding on the existence of sheep in the Western economy.
We'll have to open our to America.
Come.
But carefully, it's our only one.
This program started yet? How should I know?
Now, live from New York, the combined television networks bring you an eyewitness account of that tiny country, which in a sense is the most powerful nation in the world. This program is also being carried by Overseas Radio.
Fantastic. Wow.
We bring you inside Grand Federal. What was your first impression?
It's small, but one shouldn't pass of a country just because it's small. We particularly want to see Grand Fenwick.
And how long were you there?
How long? I'll just say our stay was all too short.
And what brought you there?
A Volkswagen.
No, the reason?
Bird watching. They have many national birds.
A country that small?
The only being who can pass on the nationality of the bird is the bird.
Well, did you see anything interesting?
Their national forest has a variety of trees, a waterfall 20 feet high, and a Honda.
Yeah, so it's the park in Patterson, New Jersey.
One more thing. When we got there was this tremendous roaring.
Roaring, that's better.
We rushed to where it had come from, but there was nothing.
Let me add that there is also possible speculation of a Fenwickian secret weapon. A transcript of the interview will be turned over to the Pentagon. Stay tuned for our public feature, Roundtable. Topic today, sheep hygiene in West Texas.
Pentagon? Maybe it was a secret weapon. Where at?
stand for it. Artie Hamilton are going around wearing buttons that say, "Friends of Fenwick." When I think of the shame way we treated that country, I'm tempted to wear one myself.
We can't allow the center of the world's military power to shift from here to there.
And what's your opinion?
Retrieve the bomb, secret agent.
Everybody knows that we're in that country. Secret agent wouldn't have a prayer.
Then ignore public opinion. Overwhelm them with a lightning military thrust.
We couldn't move faster if we could set up the bomb.
You don't believe they'd explode it?
Do you believe a bunch of men with bows and arrows come over on a chartered sailboat to invade the United States?
She, the thought of that crazy little country with the Q bomb gives me the willies. What's to stop them with an alliance
I've been listening to Soviet broadcasts. They're beaming more transmitters than North and South America combined.
We have to stop that war before anything like this could happen.
I'm still open for suggestions.
You've eliminated the only alternatives yourself.
There's still one alternative.
What?
Sue for peace.
Why should they sue for peace? They have the Q bomb.
Exactly.
Then I don't see.
Let's get this straight the first time. They don't sue for peace. We do.
We, the United States,
Well, what else can we do?
sue for peace from a country whose total population wouldn't make a good game at a football game? There must be any other number of better alternatives.
Time is running out as we're speaking right now. You give me one better alternative. Right now, or get aboard the nearest jet for Brand Bennett.
What terms are authorized?
Anything with some reason. Tell them Sandra Opinion is only been with Johnson and Marcus. This is Seidel's chance to trade for Coke and Van the bomb. Go the limit. But do whatever you can to keep the bomb in the wrong hands.
Got a picture.
Oh, and if throwing Snip and his daughters, might as well get him back while you're at it.
Sure, Chief.
Wait!
Yes, Cowmaster.
Don't shout. Have you seen Madam Venter?
Yes, she's looking for you. But I didn't think the throne room must be open today.
Ah, best times of real business of state. Find your highness and present my request for an audience immediately.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll bring the earrings.
You said the Duchess is dangerous. When you were the Q bomb?
Down. So one other danger at the same time.
What?
Can't you see it coming grab for power in Grand Fenwick?
In Grand Fenwick?
The best way to deal with these things is never the obvious.
You haven't told me anything.
Remember the motto of the Mountjoy family?
The presidential to statecraft.
Precisely.
What about your family?
Well, my dearest wish is that we should continue to serve for all time, but that may not come to pass.
You're going away.
No, Your Grace, I refer to the fact there may be no descendants to serve.
Why not?
Well, to come directly to the point, Your Grace is unmarried.
Oh, she's much young to start worrying.
Please, the royal line of Fenwick is in danger of extinction.
I can't be thinking about marriage in a time of crisis.
Now is the time you should think of it.
I'm not sure I'd want to marry. I mean, certainly I won't marry someone just because you say it has political advantages.
You rule the destiny of a people in your hands, Bruno, and your marriage has to serve their interests.
That's old-fashioned nonsense. I don't care to discuss it further.
These matters are much more urgent than you realize.
I won't go into this, Uncle.
It may affect the internal security of the realm.
How can marrying some bloodline affect our security?
This is much more urgent than you realize.
I'll tell you the man who can protect our internal security. I am external security as well.
You'll accept whatever hard and contending relationship, and you'll endure this marriage for the sake of your country.
Meaning?
For compelling reasons, you must marry Tully Bascom.
What?
Tully Bascom?
Okay, I realize the terrible blow. His boorish characteristic, manners learned in the National Forest, and so stubborn.
What compelling reasons, Uncle?
When the most popular man in the Duchy is also the most ambitious, it's a dangerous situation.
You're confusing me.
A young man who, contrary to the intentions of his ruler, wins a war against the United States of America is not to be trusted when ambition is concerned.
He's practically taken personal charge of that terrible doll, and he won't listen to anyone.
And you must have noticed his constant insubordination. Suppose he decided now to form a subversive party.
Marriage would solve all this?
Not into your grace and matrimony. His popularity would be direct to the throne, and his ambition would be automatically gratified. Then maybe he'd leave matters such as getting rid of the bond to trusted ministers.
I confess you're persuasive, Uncle.
There's a patriot.
Country first with that girl.
This is far from settled.
Oh?
I mean, we don't know how he feels. He may not want to marry me.
Oh, of course
like me enough to bother with things that show you care about someone. All he talks about now is duty.
Exactly. That is why we should get the matter settled immediately, this afternoon.
That's impossible. His mind is on other things entirely. There's no way in the world of getting him to ask.
It's not his place to ask.
Not his place.
As ruler of Grand Fenwick, the proposal must come from you.
Me?
Why can't you regard the matter as completely impersonal?
I just don't know, Uncle.
There's no harm in walking the national forest.
Nonsense. Locate the man at once and tell him he's getting married.
Must I do it that way?
You're our sovereign, Gloriana. I can only show you the ways of our ancestors.
I think I'll go out for a while.
Though it is a lovely day for a walk.
The way Tully is now, this isn't such an easy walk. You'll excuse me.
If this marriage should succeed, you think Tully will let us send back the bomb?
It's psychology.
Because marriage will take his mind off the bomb?
Oh, because marriage will make him feel important. The reason he's so protective about the Q-bomb now is that
Get away from me! Mind your business!
No, you don't! We can't let you do it!
Do what?
Break your parole! You gave your word as an officer and a gentleman!
I was not trying to escape!
Then where were you going?
Mountjoy said he teach me to play whist!
that's true.
Then why were you sneaking? You were tiptoeing!
Professor Cogan told us to walk softly when we crossed over that bridge!
Of course.
When you idiots slammed that door, you took 10 years off my life!
Are you trying to blow up this part of the world?
Sorry!
After risking the total destruction of Europe, you say,
Sorry! What should I say?
Care to try slamming that door again?
Come on, we got work to do.
What work?
Fireworks for this country. We're late for it now.
in fact, you almost didn't make it.
Collaborationist!
Oh, I'm sure distant vibrations couldn't really set off a bomb.
You have some reassuring information about the detonating device of the carrying bomb?
Let's make it safer!
We can't.
If he disarmed it completely, we'd have nothing, not even for bargaining purposes.
I'd only remove a tiny part.
How tiny.
Nothing doesn't exist.
What's in it?
A form of hydrogen.
Tully gave definite orders.
He said a part no bigger than this. Would removing such a small part really make it safer?
You've no idea.
Tully gave definite orders.
Nonsense! I am assuming full responsibility. You are to escort the general to the library.
That's the spirit!
I will escort you to the sanctuary. If you try to do anything more than you suggested, I'll put your head on a pike. And when we talk that way in Grand Fenwick, we're talking literally.
We command you as a loyal subject to marry us. We suggest you marry me. Will you please marry me?
Your Highness,
Yes?
what it might be you?
Mrs. Bascom, I was expecting to see Tully.
Oh, he'll be alone shortly. Or would you like to leave a message?
No, I'd better speak to him myself. I have a matter to discuss with him.
About spending all of his time with the international situation instead of our national forest?
You've noticed a change in him too?
All he seems to think about is duty. I pity the girl that married him.
So do I. More and more.
If you leave a message, I'll pass it along.
No, I'd better speak to him myself. It's something personal.
Oh, would you like me to leave when he gets here?
No, in a way it concerns you too.
Oh?
Don't think me as rude, Mrs. Bascom, but how did your husband go about proposing?
Well, actually, I did most of the proposing through my father.
How? Tell me.
Well, I had my father take him aside and say something to the effect that he had been asked by his daughter whether he would consent to being Mr. Bascom's father-in-law. By the time my husband-to-be got the message, he was so surprised he kissed my father and shook hands with me.
Tell Voltaire to report to me as soon as he knows who it is. On the double. Mother, there's a big black car.
I think Gloriana wishes to speak with you.
Gloriana, there's a big black car on the border. Looks official.
I think she wished to speak with something else.
Is there any way I can be of service?
I have a matter to discuss with you. It's a matter of state, but it's something personal too. It's more personal really than a matter of state.
Working with you?
It's more cooperating. You work with me.
I don't understand.
Please, you say it.
Me?
Say it the way it was said for you.
Polly, Gloriana wishes for me to become her mother. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Mother-in-law? But you're my mother.
Precisely. And you're my only son.
But... Mother! My mother accepts proudly, and her son humbly.
We haven't had a chance to discuss.
Well, okay, I got a message. Good. It's from the United States. Let's have it. Name's Well, go on.
Please.
I said we'd only admit her if she'd come to parlor in a flag of truce. She whipped out her handkerchief and started waving it. So now what?
Escort her to the grand ballroom. We'll have a reception for her there.
Right.
We'll have to take a shortcut.
While we're walking, can we discuss our plans?
It'll have to be fast.
She said while we're walking.
There isn't
Will
time.
there ever be?
The Honorable Betsy Beckman, Secretary of State of the United States of America, seeks parley under flag of truce with Gloriana XII, sovereign of the independent Duchy of Grand Fenwick.
Let her approach the throne.
The Duchess Gloriana grants protection. Let her approach.
You sought this parley, not us. State your purpose.
Peace, restitution, and friendship. I'd also like to inquire about the prisoners you captured.
Over there, captured by our expeditionary forces after formal declaration of war.
It was a fluke.
Silence!
There were also 2 last. What about them?
What is it? Impossible! One like the guys in the castle.
There were barefoot! Have you girls been tortured? No! Your feet! This is from an old friend treading on grapes. Lord, I would never want to drink the milk from the
Any more comments on our treatment of prisoners?
Your behavior in all matters relating to this unfortunate war has been exemplary. The United States wishes to terminate all hostilities and accordingly sues for peace.
Now, here are our terms. First, under no circumstances are we to be under obligation to rehabilitate the United States.
What?
Yes or no?
Yes, oh yes.
Imitation Pinot of San Rafael is to be prohibited.
That company was violating our own laws, and the product has been withdrawn.
Now, for the indemnity.
How much?
$1 million.
Did you say billion? B for billion?
No, I said half. For $1 million.
Well, we've spent more than that rehabilitating a single small town in Germany or Japan after World War II.
But there's an important difference, you see. They lost.
You've got a point. But we'd like to do much more. We could send technical assistance, machinery, more money as required. All we'd like in return is coupons.
Oh, I'm sure we can work out an equitable exchange.
No problem there.
All matters concerning our captured bomb are left to our expeditionary forces, the High Constable Tully Bascom.
Your Highness, glory.
Be reasonable, Tully.
Oh,
These
yes.
matters are irrevocable.
Yes, and I don't bargain. I levy tribute.
Tribute.
Yes, the United States must pay tribute. An annual indemnity of 12 dozen pomegranates.
Pomegranates.
For Gloriana.
You do think of me.
Of course. You always come first. I do have something to ask.
Okay, pomegranate. Pomegranate doors will bless you. You're making pomegranate seed in big. As for the indemnity, I haven't done that on you. Now,
I have a plan for the ball.
Get rid of it, Tully.
We are going to form a new group to keep a sharp eye on the big three and of such mighty power. We shall call it the Tiny 20.
The bomb is as powerful as ever. What would you do with it?
Well, you called it a peace weapon, and that's just what I'd make it. Of course, it may not stop some power-mad aggressor from taking over another nation, but it'll give him one more thing to think about it, one more reason to hesitate.
What reason?
I'm hereby stating that Grand Finwick will no longer allow aggression.
You haven't said what you do.
The powers that be trying to take over the country will face a determined task force that will transport our mighty bombs to the borders of the country, with which I'd strike with my name.
you would, you'd be killed.
The powers will just have to think it over. As I said before, I'd strike with my name.
It doesn't matter. There's more bomb.
That's not true.
What? Of course there's a bomb.
He said he was only going to remove a small part.
He said he was going to what?
You idiot! He disarmed it!
Did you extract the Claudium?
In spite of this man's insane refusal to let me near the bomb, I got there anyway. And I couldn't do a thing. Warns the world. They must not do anything to bring down the wrath of Grand Finwick. You see, this peace weapon may be even more powerful than I first thought.
The only question remaining, Your Highness. Does he have your authority?
He's our High Constable, and soon to be our husband.
And able to tell the rest of the world no more. This crazy little mouse of a country.